wildfire.
We have warm conditions and winds that are unpredictable.
Scorching heat moves east.
We are seeing record temperatures all throughout the week.
Getting aid to Gaza.
A tactical pause in the fighting.
Good morning. I'm Steve Kathan with the CBS World News Roundup. Strong winds and dry conditions are fueling a wildfire near Los Angeles. It's the largest fire in California so far this year. Here's CBS's Carter Evans.
Firefighters in L.A. County are racing to contain the coast fire as high temperatures, dry brush, and wind gusting up to 70 miles per hour fuel the fast-moving flames.
Fires just south of Interstate 5.
It began Saturday afternoon, briefly shutting down traffic on I-5. By Sunday night, it exploded to more than 14,000 acres, forcing at least 1,200 to evacuate.
We made the right call because it was just getting worse and worse.
Kimmy Blue Turcado and her family planned to go camping over Father's Day weekend, but the flames cut their trip short.
We saw the smoke coming up, but it wasn't that bad. Eventually, the sheriff was just like, you guys gotta go.
3 days before the start of summer, a heat wave is heading east with temperatures this week close to 100. CBS News meteorologist David Parkinson.
We get to 96 in Chicago, 97 in Toledo. That is tying the record for the day. And then we move into Tuesday, and we are looking at a temperature of 97 in Burlington, Vermont. So right on up to the Canadian border, we are seeing dangerous heat.
Overseas, Israel's military has announced a daytime pause in the fighting in a narrow strip of southern Gaza to allow aid to get in. CBS's Chris Livesay says it comes amid political turmoil in Israel.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has dissolved his war cabinet. Once a coalition of rivals meant to show unity during the conflict in Gaza. The shakeup comes after Israel announced a tactical pause in the fighting along 7.5 miles of road in the Rafah area during daylight hours to allow more aid. The Biden administration says Hamas is stalling a deal to release 120 remaining hostages in exchange for a ceasefire. But if this pause holds, it could at least address some of these overwhelming needs as Israeli forces pursue the remaining Hamas brigades in Rafah. In central Gaza, 9 people were killed overnight when a home was struck. Here, the tactical pause does not apply.
2 people were killed, 14 others hurt in a shooting at a Juneteenth celebration in Round Rock, Texas over the weekend. No arrests have been made. In Rochester Hills, Michigan, there's an investigation after 9 people, including 2 young boys, were wounded by a gunman at a splash pad.
I know these people. This is my neighborhood. These are friends. These are family members. This is horrible.
Police say the shooter shot and killed himself later at a house officers had surrounded. The Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer says he's calling for a Senate vote designed to restore the ban on bump stocks. It was overturned last week by the U.S. Supreme Court.
I have the ability to allow a unanimous consent vote, and we'll see just what Republican MAGAs do. Will they allow it to go forward? Or will they cower to MAGA and hurt the American people?
Correspondent Nancy Cordes has more on a weekend of campaigning by the presidential candidates.
Tickets to President Biden's star-studded fundraiser ranged from $250 to $500,000.
The next president is likely to have 2 new Supreme Court nominees. 2 more.
Biden jetted to California directly from Italy, where he and his fellow G7 leaders announced a flurry of new financing and new weapons for Ukraine. Former President Donald Trump called Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky the, quote, greatest salesman of all time.
Every time he comes to our country, he walks away with $60 billion.
Trump claimed he'd be able to end the 2.5-year war right away.
I will have that settled prior to taking the White House as president-elect. I will have that.
In a new ad out this morning, the Biden campaign takes aim at Trump's recent guilty verdict.
This election is between a convicted criminal who's only out for himself and a president who's fighting for your family.
4 minutes after the hour.
Well, that's today's news. Today's news. I didn't hear any good news, did you? I didn't think so. I guess it's all about perspective. The glass is half full. Well, as always, I'd like to thank you again for coming along with me on these Dashcam News adventures. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody. It's 55 degrees in San Jose.